Pencil agenda binder, assigned seats, everybody fill in your homework. It's your last assignment of the year. It's me. Hi. Hey, look, that's when I was you. That's my 7th grade portrait. I got my eyes from my mom, and I got my hair from my mom, and I got my nose from my dad. I bet you're wondering kind of the same thing. Who did you get your genes from? Well, that comes to our essential question. Can brown hair parents have a blonde hair child? Let's find out. Okay, let's see. Your homework this week is to email me your responses or email me a photo of your responses when you have completed all of this week's assignments. And that actually goes for all of the quarter's assignments because you've got a whole extra week to get everything in. All right, let's see. Your family tree pedigree. What in the world is a family tree pedigree? Well, this is a family tree pedigree. All right, so if you are a male, you would be right here. A male is represented by a square. So if you're a male, this is your dad, and that's your mom. Okay? Now, let's suppose you're a female. If you're female, you're represented by a circle. This is your dad. This is your mom. This is your dad's dad and mom. Those would be your grandparents. That's your grandpa on your dad's side and your grandma on your dad's side. This would be your mom's parents. That's your grandpa on your mom's side, and that's your grandma on your mom's side. So the question is, let's suppose you have a brown-haired dad. Okay? That's your dad with brown hair. And you have a mom with brown hair. Okay? There's your mom with brown hair. Is it possible, can brown hair parents have a blonde hair child? So, we're going to find out if it's possible. Alright, let's get everything ready to go. We're going to figure this out with what's called a Punnett square. A Punnett square is a tool used to determine the probability of whether or not you will end up with a particular trait. Because you get half your trait, half your gene pair comes from your mom, and half your gene pair comes from your dad. And when they meet, a decision is kind of made. If your parent has the dominant gene, well then, that's the gene trait you're going to receive. The only time you ever get the recessive trait, the one that's not dominant, is if both parents give you the recessive gene. I'll explain. Alright, so we're going to set up what's called a Punnett square. Punnett squares, you use letters to represent half of a gene pair. So we're going to use a big B to represent brown hair. Brown is the dominant color of hair in the human population. We're going to let a little b represent what's called the recessive trait, the one that's less common. And in this case, we're going to go with blonde. So, the only way that you're going to end up with a blonde hair child coming from brown hair parents is if both of them are carriers of the recessive blonde trait. So, father up here, his gene pair would look like this. A big B and a little b. He's got the big B, so that makes dominant brown hair in the dad's hair color. Mom would also be a big B, little b gene pair. Dominant B gives her brown hair. So you got a brown hair dad, brown hair mom. Now, through meiosis with the sex cells, remember that goes through 2 divisions. So, you end up with half of a gene pair coming from mom and half of a gene pair coming from dad. So it's a probability thing. If this trait crosses with this trait from mom, the outcome would be a big B gene pair, and that would end up with an offspring with brown hair, because they both have the dominant in it. If this one and this one come together, well, then you'd have an offspring with brown hair, because it's got a big B in there for dominant brown hair. If this one and this one pair up at conception, well then, again, dominant brown hair. However, there is a 1 in 4 chance that this recessive allele, these are called alleles, this recessive allele would pair up with this recessive allele, and there is a 1 in 4, 25% chance that the child could have blonde hair. So, let's ask the question again. We saw the hair color on the pedigree. We saw the way it happens with a Punnett square. By the way, your lessons this week are all about pedigrees and Punnett squares. So, can brown hair parents have a blonde hair child? Yes! Yes, it's possible. You may wonder, hey, my mom's got brown hair, my dad's got brown hair, how did I get blonde hair? You had a 1 in 4 chance if both of your parents were carriers of the blonde recessive trait. All right, 7th graders, you have one final assignment of the year. On Thursday of this week, you have to go to your garage or ask your folks for a tape measure, or maybe there's a tape measure in your tackle box. Look for a ruler, look for a yardstick. Follow me. On the very first week of school, maybe even the first day of school, science is testable and measurable. And you stood here and you measured yourself. Your final assignment of the 7th grade science is to measure yourself again. Write it down, record it on your answer sheet, check it out with your earlier measurements, see how much you grew in 7th grade. I'm going to miss you guys. Have a great summer. Bye.